All right, I want to do another video this morning and just try some things, probably some glazes I've used before and some techniques I've used before, but never together. And I just wanted to show you, this is actually Monday, February 12th here in Northwest Arkansas. And the weather is quite wide out here. And it has started snowing again. I'm sure you can see the snow out there. But this is just a great day to be hanging out in the studio. I ran a bisque kiln last night, and I brought out some stuff. I've got some big bowls. I've got some porcelain. I've got some different little colored stuff where I blended some clay with porcelain. I've got some mugs. I got some of my cool little Arkansas Peace mugs I do for different people, and I've got some we got utensil holders. Oh, here's a really nice porcelain and black clay that I blended together, and I'll put a clear glaze on this. Oh, there you go. There's the old cactus garden hanging out in here for the winter. But this, I love doing this. This turns out really neat with the nice clear glaze. But I haven't done anything for a while. We've been traveling, been out in the panhandle of Texas, taking care of some aging parents and just doing things that need to be done. So anyway, hang with me. I'm gonna do some Iron Lustre and Oatmeal and some bands on a porcelain lidded jar. Here's the project of the day. I'm gonna do several things. I'm trying to get a kiln ready to go. I have some things that are glazed, but this is porcelain. I know it looks yellow. It's not. What I did, and you've heard me talk about my junk glaze. This is my junk glaze. Everything that comes out of my little wash buckets, I let it sit for like 4 to 5 days for all the old glaze to settle to the bottom in my little wash buckets I use over here. And then I'll pour off the clear water at the top, and I dump the rest of it in here. And I use this, and you can use this. It's not food safe. You don't want to put it in a mug. But you know what? For a vase or a jar or something, I line the inside of it with that. And I have a little lid. I put it on top of here. And this is going to fit together real nice. And I poured that last night. Something you might realize, when you have a thinner piece like this, that glaze you put on the inside will soak through, and you need to do that ahead of time. I've done it. I've applied a glaze on the inside and then immediately put it on the outside, and I get a crawl sometimes because it's too wet. The actual ceramic or the bisque piece has too much moisture in it, and the glaze can't adhere from the outside because I've got it wet from the inside through. But it will typically turn yellow as it soaks through. I did this yesterday, and I poured that in, and then I wiped this away, and I'm gonna, looks like I did it in here, and then I let it sit overnight. And right now I'm putting Iron Lustre on here. I want to show you something. Yeah, I have brain farts all the time, and I squirrel off and I change directions, but this was a neat little piece I did. And this was a nice lidded jar with honeydew, AMACO flux. But guess what? I glued it to the top, and I just probably wasn't patient enough in trying to get it off, and I ended up breaking it. And I had a really nice little gallery right in here, and I thought I was good with firing them together, but I wasn't. And I just haven't thrown this away yet because I wanted to show this to you. I like to fire my tops together. I know they're going to fit that way. If they shrink, they're going to shrink to each other. It's not always necessary. This was a good fit. I probably could have set it on the shelf next to it, and then I wouldn't have had this problem. It couldn't have been very much glaze in this little gallery, but it was enough that it was right here. I mean, I can see it's just shiny right here. It just glued that thing down. And so out of frustration for breaking this, and I'll make another one like that someday, I wanted to throw another lidded jar, and this time I did just a really nice straight. That is porcelain. This is all 100% porcelain. But what I'm going to do here, and I'm doing it in a way that you can kind of watch, is I'm actually doing similar. I'm glazing very similar to what I have done before with some other glazes, and that's doing some bands where I'm going to go heavier in some spots than I do in others, and then we should get a nice, you'll get waves. I've done this in some of my pieces. I don't know that I have shared those with you. I had one, I probably told you about it if you've watched my videos, but I had a river birch bowl, a really nice one that I had donated, and I had a vase that was similar to this piece right here. And it was done in, I know it's not Iron Lustre, I can't remember which one it is, but it's a piece, and I did these bands in it. Completely escapes me right now. Pretty tired from all the traveling. But we took it to an auction where I donated it, and my wife liked the piece, so she just ended up buying it and bringing it home. And it's inside. But it was done this way. This is kind of a neat way to do this, is to just put these bands on it so it's thicker in some places. And I hope you can see how I'm doing this. I'm just putting bands, and then what I'm going to do, I'll take a bigger brush and I'll do a full coat over all of this, so it will look like it's an even coat before I put my oatmeal on it. Like I say, this is Iron Lustre PC33, and I'm doing some bands here. It'll be a pretty piece, but I'll do that. And then I'll coat it completely, and then I'm going to put my oatmeal on it, and the oatmeal really makes this turn out nice. There are certain combos that I really enjoy doing, and Iron Lustre with oatmeal is one. I haven't been out here. It's been almost a month, if not more, since I have been in the studio really doing any kind of glazing. I was able to throw some this week, and I got some pieces out. I have some other things drying right now, and I reclaimed some clay. So I just don't recall some of these glazes at the moment. Like I say, I'm tired, and my short-term memory, I blame it on my head injury, but maybe I should blame it on my age. I don't know. Maybe you guys can comment and tell me. I'm 62. Do you just lose your faculties from 60 on up, or is that just a gift for me? Here we go. All right, this is striping. I'm gonna get some color on here. And then I'm gonna dump this brush. These are just I know I've talked about these, some of these little import brushes. They work great, I love them. Other things, these are AMACO fan brushes. This is a soft fan tail brush. This one's a number 8, and this one will really load up and carry some glaze. I believe I have a number 4 here that I let soak in water, and the paint came off of it, but it still works quite well. And there's some of these bigger ones. You can usually get any of these at your local ceramic store. I mean, I know you can get these there. These fan brushes by AMACO, they're a little more expensive, but they're really nice, and I know you can get them from a lot of the art supply places. I order so much stuff from St. Louis out of Kruger Pottery. I got my wheel there. I've gotten several things there, lots of glazes and all, so it's nice. So bear with me here. I'm going to do some drying. Okay, so it is an iron luster that I'm talking about on this other combo. The difference here is on this one I'm doing iron luster down first, and then I'll put oatmeal over the top of it, and you get a very different color than what I've done in the past is done honey flux and then do bands of iron luster and then do one coat of iron luster over the top of it. And one of them turns out with more really dark browns and blues, and that's this one that I'm doing with the oatmeal on top. The other one comes out, oh, I'd almost call it purpley. I don't have hardly anything in here. I sold almost everything I had at Christmas. It went through the stores and it's just gone, and my shop's pretty empty. But it's more of a very light lavender and purple and grays and some dark blues and maybe some reds in it. But it's very similar glazes, but applied, one's on top, where the iron luster is on top of honey flux, and on this one, iron luster is on the bottom, and you put oatmeal on top of it. But you get a very different effect. Go look at some of my other videos. You'll see iron luster in there a couple of ways, and it's just done differently, and it makes a big difference in the way that they work. So anyway, I'm going to apply now that I've dried this up some. Flip this thing over first, try to get the bottom of it. Use this big fan brush, and you'll be able to see she carries a lot of glaze once you get it full. And I'll just do that, and then we can just put it on here quite liberally. And as you can see, we'll fill in those gaps where it's going to be lighter. This will be interesting. I've never done this combination in this method, and I'm kind of excited to do that. Like I say, I have some other pieces out here. I want to try to get a glaze kiln ready. My little 8-sided kilns don't hold a lot. I can really stack stuff up when I do bisque, but when it comes to doing my glaze, obviously you can't stack stuff, and so it's I'm gonna have to do a couple of firings. But these old kilns that I have, I do a glaze fire in about 5 hours and 15 minutes. I go to cone 6, and I put them on low. I put it on low. I use one for bisque, and the other one I use because it just gets so hot so fast. And I have replaced the switches in it, so it does work like it's supposed to. But I'll put it on low for an hour. I'll put it on medium for a couple hours, and then I put it on high. And 5 hours, these babies are cooked. It takes longer for it to cool down than it does for it to get where it's going. So I'm just curious, what are your favorite pieces to throw? I know the things I like to throw, and I know the things that actually sell, and I don't want to get caught up just making stuff that sells, because I'm not in this for money. If I was in it for money, I'd be broke, because I really don't. This is a hobby, and I lose money on everything I do because I can't do that much of it, but I have fun with it. But I like doing lidded jars quite a bit when I slow down and just take the time to do something like that. Makes it really nice. Look how that's drying. You can tell where we've got the thicker, those thin coats that just now got to the porcelain are drying real quick for us. Get these around here. And I've got to where I enjoy doing mugs. I come up with different ideas so far as where we've gotten to where in this Northwest Arkansas area, it's a really high growth area if you look at it in the country. And there's also a lot of tourism here because it's becoming the mountain bike capital of the United States. The Walton brothers of Walmart Stores Incorporated have a lot to do with some of the growth and the development around in this area. And they obviously have deep pockets to play with. So, but I do a lot of touristy stuff because I'm in just some little mercantiles that sell stuff, and not everybody wants a vase, but everybody wants a mug. Everybody wants something that they can take home and as a reminder of a little trip that they came to Northwest Arkansas. So. And I know not every potter makes mugs, but I think it's kind of a rite of passage to be able to make mugs. I like to make things that people can use that are utilitarian. I like to make sourdough bread bowls, but or baking dishes, things like that that you can bake in. But it's kind of a limited market. So. All right, there we go. And I'm gonna have to watch this top real close. I'll wipe that away because I don't want the same thing to happen to this that happened to that. That was not fun. That was a pretty piece. I was happy with that. I was just saving it before I threw it in the trash to be able to share it with everybody and let you know, be careful, because you can get bit. So, dry this up. Okay, so I'm gonna take some clean water and a sponge, and I am gonna wipe this top away a little bit so you can see what I'm doing there. I mean, if you've been doing this for a while, I'm sure you figured some of this out, but I know, you know, if you're new to it, it really helps to have a visual. So I try to just stay on this edge. I wanna make sure I get that away from that top, but just enough. When I sit my lid on there, I don't want it to touch any glaze. And I'll probably come back and do this a couple more times. Since I got bit that last time, I don't want that to happen again. I kind of like this piece. Once in a while I do. This one's been sitting around waiting to be glazed for a while. It came out of a bisque kiln weeks ago before we had to take off and take care of some business. But there we go. All right. And then I'll just dry that up real good. I'll take about a second. So I'm not even gonna fast motion it for you. I'm just gonna hit it with some heat. All right. I always try to use up my glaze. I don't like to wash something out of a brush that could go on a pot. And since I'm not trying to be uniform here, I'm going to be anything but uniform and just wipe it around here and empty my brush up best I can. Because that there is money. You know, if you buy glazes at $20 a pint, I should be buying dry mix or gallons, but AMACO's kind of quit with some of the gallon stuff. I wish I had bought more when I could have, but I didn't. So here we are. All right, I'm gonna put oatmeal on top of this. And I know I'm a little bit shy on my oatmeal right now. I think I have a new bottle somewhere, so we may have to take a quick pause while I go dig that out of a cabinet. And then I'm wiping away. If you don't do this, you'll realize that these get stuck real good. But I just wipe away these tops with a sponge. Simple little things you learn, but you know what, if you're new to it, you don't know and you find out the hard way. And then wipe away those threads right in there with a sponge a little bit. Just wipe that away best you can. Then next time you want to open that, it's not going to be glued to it. So anyway, here's our oatmeal. And you know oatmeal's thick. I'm sure I've added water to this, but she's still thick. It ain't gonna come running out of there. That's probably water running out of it. But I'm gonna stir it up a little bit, and then I'm just gonna start smearing it on. And you'll see how this is. It's just, I have watered this down or it wouldn't be as thin as it is. And you do have to be careful. The oatmeal will crack when it dries sometimes. I've had it crack and peel up and actually fall off of a pot. So there's a learning curve with that. Putting it on thin, I think, and letting it dry. So you can see how I'm putting it on pretty thin right now. And I have thinned it out from what it is typically. Let's see if I can flip that over. And we'll get some of that. I won't get too much when you get, obviously the oatmeal has got to have some flux in it, and that's what makes it help other glazes blend together. So you don't want it real heavy towards the bottom because it can run off the pot. There we go. You can see what I'm doing. I mean, you know, if you give it a ½ inch of just, you know, maybe a little bit lighter down here, you're going to be okay. Unless you're trying to mix it with something like seaweed or honey, honey flux. If you know a glaze is really high in flux content, you know it's going to run. So just be cautious. I'm wondering how many people watch these have your own kiln. Are you firing this stuff yourself, or do you take it to a studio and pay somebody else to fire it? I did that for a long time until I moved out here, and I got blessed with a couple of kilns, old kilns that work fantastic, and I love them. And they're old manual kilns, and they get the job done. So here we are. We're gonna see if we can dry this up a little bit. All right, there we go. So I've got one coat on. I'm gonna put one more good coat of this oatmeal on it. Probably start up a little higher on it this time. Pretty quiet here today. Hope everybody's enjoyed the Super Bowl last night. Of course you did if you're a Kansas City fan, and if you're not, then you probably didn't. So I don't have a real big preference, even though I'm here in the Midwest close to KC. I just don't keep up with NFL much anymore. I did when I was younger, and spend my time doing other things. As such, yeah, we took a road trip, as I mentioned earlier, and we left here in Northwest Arkansas. Of course, we head out through Tulsa to Oklahoma City, you get out towards the Panhandle where it's cattle and cotton country, there's not a lot out there. I'd love to hear from anybody that's out that way. We go through Weatherford, Oklahoma, which is a nice little town. It's not bad, and we stop out there. And then, like I say, when you get out there, it's just a lot of hard-working people out in that Panhandle. A lot of feedlots, a lot of cotton being grown. It's a little town. My wife is from out there, and her parents are still there. And so yeah, we've made that trip twice. It's about 9.5 hours, and we've made that trip twice since, I guess, December. We went in December and we went in January, so. Love to hear from anybody that's out there. Like I say, it's like, where are you from out in the Panhandle? Where all the windmills are at, where the feedlots are at, where the cotton's being grown. A lot of it here in this country is out there, and there are some wide open spaces. I will tell you this. I enjoy a good podcast when I'm driving out there because it helps pass the time. We listen to a bunch of true crime and, of course, the Robertsons with the Duck Dynasty. Just something to feel the air while the wheels are turning. All right, that we're gonna sit off and let it dry. I'm gonna grab the lid here because I want to get the same on it. This is Iron Lustre on it, just to see if we can't wrap that one up. So I hope to get this thing fired in the next day or two. If I can get some more stuff on here. Hopefully I will be showing this to you and posting it soon. Hope everybody's enjoying the weather. I was kind of excited about the snow today because I know it's not going to last. Tomorrow's going to be 60. It's going to be in the 40s today. It's already melting off, so it's not one of those that we're trapped in or anything like that. We're just had a really nice snow day. It got up, got to see it. I was up about 2 a.m. Actually, some small hail, real small hail started for a little bit, but it wasn't anything that would be damaging. And there we go. Voila. I'll show you the finished product here. I may throw some other ones in here depending on what all I get to glaze today. But y'all have a great day. We'll show you the finished product soon. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Okay, I want to throw this in here real quick and just show it to you. This is porcelain, and then I have some black clay that I mix in with it. Put a mound on the wheel, and then I just take some round pieces about like that, and I'll put like 4 of them on the outside. I'll have to show you sometime in a video so it's easier to understand. But through this little bowl, and it's just a pretty little bowl. You can see at the top how I just went around and pinched the top to give it some texture. I've got that one right there, and then I have this. And I don't know how I ended up doing this, but this was also porcelain. And I had some old reclaim laying around, and I just rolled it up and I put it on, stuck it on here, and then I threw this little vase. As the Chewy dog says, it's a vase. And yeah, I put it there. But I'm gonna put clear glaze on both of these. I'm not gonna put any color on them. I want that to show through. I want that to really, I want you to be able to see that mixture. It'll be fun to see what they turn out like. I've done one like this before. I've done it in another vase, a vase, and yeah, they're pretty. So shared that with you, and I'll show you the results when they come out of the kiln. I'm going to show you this vase real quick that I showed you earlier about how I'm glazing this. I'm just using a big old fat brush, And this is actually a Coyote product, and it's just clear. It's a clear glaze. I poured it on the inside and just turned it around and around until I poured it out, and then used the brush to kind of smooth it out so it wasn't too thick. And I'm not letting it dry. I hit it real hard on the inside with a heat gun because I really didn't want to wait on this one and leave it overnight. And I'm hoping I had it pretty thin. The inside, I'm not like putting 3 coats or anything on it. But you can see I'm just liberally, heavily putting this on. And then I'll flip it back over. And there you can see the inside is just completely done and clear. And like I say, this is just a Coyote clear. And it's a cone 5/6. I like the Coyote glazes. They do real well for me. They're cheaper than AMACO's. Just depends on what you want in them. They've got some different types of glazes. They got some solids. They got some clears. They got some transparent type stuff. And they've also got some, I think it's called a Texas two-step, something like that, where you use more than one glaze together to get a very specific effect for it. So anyway, this little porcelain vase it'll be fun to see how it comes out. Putting a clear on these multi colored, like these different clays, where you've got the reclaim and the porcelain and stuff, it just really makes them pop. It's like putting clear coat on anything. It's just going to really bring out that color and the swirls. I'm excited to see these come out. This one in that bowl I showed you earlier, I did the same thing with it. I just took this big old brush and just did the inside and the outside of it, hit it real hard and real fast, and made sure I got enough on it to coat it. I want it to be sealed if somebody does use it to put flowers or something in and put water in it. So you want to make sure if you're making something that you're not just using for yourself, and even if you are, you want it to function the way it's supposed to function. These vases, more than likely it's just decorative and it'll sit up somewhere with some dry flowers in it or something. But this one, the shape of it made me think of some old Indian pottery, and so it was fun to make. But that ought to get this one. Like I say, it's if you're new to this, if you're not new to this, you know, it's there's a lot of different ways to do things, and there's a lot of trial and error, but and you learn every time you do something. I don't have a picture of it anymore, but of course the first time I ran one of these old kilns, it's like I just blew up the whole kiln, everything in it. I had mugs, I had things I had worked on for weeks, but I didn't let it get dry enough, and I let it get too hot too fast, and I was picking shards out of my elements with tweezers because it was just everywhere. Don't do that. Learn from my mistakes so you don't have to go through it yourself, because it's not any fun. Nothing like having that big old smile of excitement to come out and pop open a kiln and you want to see what you made, and you realize it's just a pile of rubble. But then it's like, you know, okay, I won't do that again. Education is costly in a lot of ways sometimes, so anyway, there it is. That'll be fun to pull out of the kiln. I'll probably try to do a kiln opening when I pull these out, just so you can see when the lid opens what we got and how well it turned out, or not how well it turned out. I ran the kiln last night. Today is Tuesday, February 13th, and I'm getting ready to open this. And This should have all the things I talked about in the video, as well as there'll be some additional things here. So here we go. She's been cooling and she should be ready to pull out. Ooh, still pretty warm. That's just a textured turquoise and blue rutile mug with a little bit of Albany slip brown around the top. Got a couple of those, just little different formats, but the smooth picks up the color really well. And then it always breaks real well when you've got texture. So that's nice. Those are nice mugs. Here is our, oh, now that's different. That, my reclaimed clay I put in here had speckles in it. So this is the porcelain with the reclaimed clay that I did in clear. Just made a really nice, pretty little vase. See how that worked out. A couple of little footed bowls. Pretty sure this was honeydew with some turquoise just around the rim on a speckled clay here. This is probably Tony Beaver, real light color from Kentucky Mudworks. Just found out one of my suppliers hasn't been getting this from Kentucky Mudworks. They've had some problems with replenishment, so I was going to pick up some more and ended up buying a new clay, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, here's the lidded jar. Came out this with my junk clay. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? That's just the top. I did fire this separately. I set this on these little stilts, and if you're not familiar with this, this is really good if you're afraid something's going to run off. I didn't know what this reclaimed glaze would do, so I fired it like that just to be safe, and it wasn't any problem at all. Almost looks like it's the color of seaweed. But wow, look at that. And there are those bands. Those bands that I was talking about, the blues. You get this break into browns and coppers, the reds. Oh my goodness. That's just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Got a light here. See if that helps. It may make it worse because of just the shine, but isn't that nice? Then it's real clean around the rim. Got a little lid that sits on it. Pretty. Pretty, pretty, pretty. There's my witness cone. Got my cone 6 just about perfect. And we'll see what's on tray number 2. Oh. Here's a black clay that I had, and I really just see these drips. I wanted those to be real thick. I put honey flux on here pretty heavy. And then I put some blue rutile. Boy, that broke nice, didn't it? I hope that glare is not too much. Kind of did it on the inside. Just let it run down. That's neat. That's really neat. I did textured, no, it wasn't textured turquoise. What was that I had on this one? Blue rutile and indigo float, I believe. Trying to get that to brighten up, and it did. It gave me these real thick drips like I wanted. That turned out really nice. Here's that bowl. That was clear. Nice clear glaze, shiny. Filled in really good. I have a bowl in here that I had to refire. The glaze was good. Let's see what she did to me. Looks like it's a porcelain bowl. This was honeydew with turquoise. Look at those drips. And the inside, I may have put this on a previous video. I had just a little tiny crack right there. And so I put some more flux glaze on it and ran it back in there. And it just filled right in. It wasn't anything that was structural. It was just so tiny, I wouldn't sell it that way. But that turned out nice. Got a couple little bubbles right there. That's too bad. I don't know what I'll have to do with those. But, all right. So there we go. Those are the things we talked about and I showed you how to do. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy these videos. Please comment, like, share. Let me know if there's something you'd like to see that I'm capable of doing, and I'll try to film it.